Greetings, peace, love and light to you all, family. Welcome to another YouTube video with me, your host, Mathix. Now, today's going to be a very beautiful one. Today is, I'm starting to gauge my audience and I'm starting to feel where you guys are. I don't know if you're aware, but I'm setting you up in such a way that, your spiritual growth becomes something that is fun as you get to learn more about yourself. And today's going to be exactly one of those episodes that just like put your mind in those states and have you reflecting deep, because today we're going to be talking about the Orishas. We're going to be talking about the pantheon of gods that are known to the Yoruba religion as the Orishas. So we're going to be talking about that, and I'm also going to be explaining to you, as I have always been. This is a book that I bought a couple of years ago. It's the Encyclopedia of World Mythology. So like basically now in this book, they speak about the different mythologies that you find throughout the world, from in Egypt to the Middle East, Greece, Rome, North Europe, all the Celtic mythology of animal, plants, and all of that. So the first thing that I want you to know about the Yoruba is that the mythology, or the whole system, the whole structure that the pantheon of gods are laid out in is its mythology. So what is mythology? Mythology is not something that you would say it's fictional, because you have to understand where it comes from and who wrote mythology. Now, mythology was written by very highly spiritually elevated individual adepts. Your ancestors were the ones who wrote mythology. So mythology is higher science, it's cosmology, it's astronomy, it's the cycles of time that were put into story form so that it could be made easier for the everyday person to understand. So mythology is actually not fiction. It's what sounds like fictional stories, but they contain internal and eternal truths within them. So today we're going to be talking about the Yoruba religion, which speaks about the pantheon of gods known as the Orishas. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I'm sure you're beginning to see that what I'm trying to do here is to show you just how much all of these particular cultures and all these spiritual systems, from the Bible to the Quran to mythology to Kabbalah, all these things are speaking about you. So now today we're going to be talking about the Orishas. So now let's just start with that word alone. So when you break down the word Orisha, the Ori is said to be now the head. The word Ori represents the head. So everything that is taking place in the head, the orb, the Ori, the origin, where things begin, the original. Remember, everything begins with the thought. So all these gods that we're going to speak about, they are in here. They are psychological states, number one. Now, yes, they are forces and powers that can influence you, but these forces are nothing but projections of the deep subconscious parts of yourself that you do not even know that you have. So the Orishas are a pantheon of gods, also known as the 7 African powers. Now, they speak about 7 Orishas most of the time, but there are more than 140. There's many of them, but then there's like the major ones. And in what would be a corresponding to that, here in South Africa, we have what they call Izithunywa. And there's 7 of them, what they call Izithunywa Zamenzi or Zagamenzi. Menzi means Umenzi is the creator. So Umenzi is the creator, and the creator Unezithunywa is E7. So here in South Africa, they would speak of what the messengers would be entities like Uma, usodumo, usomandla, unomkhubulwane, umlenze munye, usodumo. So those would be Izithunywa, which are a direct correspondence to who the Orishas are. So what you find in Nigeria and what you find in other parts because like now the Yoruba religion spread around the world, first of all, through the transatlantic slave trade, when black people were being taken from northeast, southwest, from the west of Africa and taken all across the world to the Americas, to South America. And so now that's how this religion was spread out. So what you find in Nigeria, what you find in parts of certain countries in Northern Africa, you also find in South America, you also find in North America. It's the same thing that you find now in the East when they speak about the Hindu gods, for an example. They too are a direct reflection of who or what the Orishas are. Now, what I want you to know is that the Orishas in South Africa are what are known as Izitunya. Izitunya in Nigeria, I'm just going to use Nigeria as the example, are what the Orishas are. In the East, the Hindu gods are the Orishas and Izitunya. So all these gods and systems are the same. What differs now is the culture, right? So they won't be the same to the highest degree. That, you know, they'll have differences here in terms of what this god does and what this god does there, and there. But if you really now with your spiritual look at it, you will, with your spiritual eye, and you look at it, you'll see, oh damn, these systems are the same. So who Shango and Yemaya and all these entities are in the East, that's where now you find your Lakshmi, that's where you find your Brahman, your Shiva, your Saraswati, your Ganesh, all those be your Krishna, your Kali. So those beings that they speak about in the East, they are the Orishas. As I said, what differs is the environment and the cultures. So now I'm gonna first of all explain some of them, just the main ones, and then I'm going to get deeper into what these entities and what these forces really are. Oh my word, it's going to get heated. Let me just take this off. I can feel it. I can feel it. Oh. Eshu, Alegba, Alegwa, called by different names. Who's this entity? God of the crossroads. God of the crossroads, known as the trickster. Known as the trickster. Now this is said to be in the Orishas. He's one of the first gods. He's one of the first beings that people pay homage to because he's said to be a messenger. He's a messenger between the world of the living and the world of the dead. In fact, all the Orishas are that. Now, actually, I skipped ahead of myself. The Orishas are said to have come into creation as extensions of the supreme being who they call Oldomari in the Yoruba. So, Oldomari is the supreme god, but the supreme God is too vast and too broad and too uncontainable, too supernatural to be able to try and quantify. So what that entity did was that it brought forth aspects of itself. So it projected out aspects of itself, and those aspects are what the Orisha are. Now there's many different ways or many different stories of how this came about. The stories are not the important thing here, because in some stories you'll hear that, okay, the Orishas descended on a spider web. In some other stories it's a different story, but as I'm saying, the core principle is the same. So the Orishas are mediators between the world of the mortal and the spiritual invisible world. So in your Bible they would be what the messengers are or what the angels are. They are angels of light or angels of light that now mediate between the world of the living and the ancestral and the higher planes of the universe. And that's why now they are divided into three parts. But I'm not going to get into those here in detail. You know, there would be the Orishas that represent cosmic forces that have been in existence, or that have been that have existed before existence came into place. And then some Orishas are actually beings that were living just like you. that now got taken to those levels because of that of that high vibration that they were able to reach while they were living in the physical. And then some now would be represented also as the elemental forces. So those are the three systems, but I'm not going to get into details about that. I just wanted to quickly tell you of how they came into existence. Remember, in Kabbalah or in the Kabbalion, you learn that the first principle is all is mind. Ori, head, all is mind, and everything in the universe is mental. Everything is taking place in the mind of the Supreme God, Oldomari. Everything is taking place in the mind of the Supreme God, Umenzi, the Creator. And so Umenzi, the Creator, wenzani, sends forth is tunywa, messengers or forces, negations of itself that can be able to now hold certain aspects of itself. And so now these Orishas have different tasks. They have different missions that they do or that they are responsible for. Just as you would have Michael being the angel of, the angel that fights. You would have Gabriel being the messenger. You have your Uriel. You have your different angels. Those are angles of light. Those are what the Orishas are in the Bible. It's messengers. It's angles of light. So now, Eshu, Hewena, Alegba, the trickster. He's the first entity that people speak to, and he's said to be the one who reports to Oldomari of what happens in the world of the living and also in the spiritual world among the other Orishas. So he's known as the god of the crossroads. So in life, in physicality, what that force would represent would be something that is responsible for new beginnings, for travels. Whenever you are moving, whenever you are traveling, that would be the being that now you would call upon, or the being that you would summon in order to now help you in your journeys. And he's also known as the trickster because you know what he does, ne? They say that he can actually shapeshift. So in one aspect, he could be a little boy, and then in another aspect he could just shapeshift into a dog or a cat, and then he could shapeshift into a young girl, an old man, an old lady. He's known as the trickster, and the reason for this is that now he's known as the trickster because his ways are a little bit unorthodox, but the methods or his ways are actually to quicken the spirit of the human being while the soul is incarnated in the body. So he's a trickster in the way that some of his methods are a little bit unorthodox, but he has the highest intentions for you. And now as a force inside of you or inside other people, have you ever spoken to a little child and they tell you the most profound thing? That's a legwa. That's a legba. That's him. That's that entity in there. Have you ever spoken to a drunk person and they said the most profound thing? Have you ever gotten wisdom from a place or from a thing? You could be watching a butterfly or just an animal from a place that you wouldn't expect to get something profound. That's the shape-shifting abilities of this entity, the trickster. You never know where the lessons are going to come from, right? That's that entity. And now we move on to mother, which Yemaya. We move on to the great mother, to the nurturer. We move on to a force of the ocean. That's who Yemaya is. She is the mother principle. She is the deep ocean. She is the ocean itself. So now she would be the force that is basically now responsible for childbirth, pregnancy, protecting women, protecting children. She is that nurturer. She is the great mother. Everything comes from water. Everything, in fact, is water if you look at it. The 9 months you are in the amniotic waters of your mother in the womb. You are in Yemaya herself. You are in the ocean. So that's the nurturing aspect within humanity. That's what that force represents. Now, sister Sam, hey you, hey pretty, hey beautiful, hey Oshun. Woo! Damn. Hey. Huh? Huh? Goddess of the river, I see you. I see you, Oshun. Huh? Look at you being depicted as a mermaid. Look at you being the goddess of the water. This is the force, this is the entity that deals with love. Utando. Huh? When you are whipped, when you are in love, when you are falling in love, when you are in love with life, when you are in love with yourself, when your heart is just like something is just reaching deep in there and opening the eyes of your heart, that's Oshun. That's the goddess of the rivers, the streams. She said to reside in places that flow, the streams and the rivers. Huh? If Yemaya is the ocean, Oshun is the rivers. That's where she is. Utando, responsible for the heart chakra, for these things that happen here, compassion. That's who she is. And then from there on, you know, say what time? Hey dad. Huh? Hey father figure. Hey you. Hey you, someone who's hey, oh Batila, hey Joe, that's the dad. When we speak about the sugar daddy, that's the original sugar daddy. Oh Batila, ha! He's said to be one of the oldest Orishas, and he's an entity that is responsible for creation. And in fact, it's said to have been Obatala that created humanity. So he's a force of creation. Whenever you are dealing with creating anything in the physical, you are dealing with that entity. You are dealing with that entity. And since he's a force or an entity that represents creation, he has the most utmost compassion, loves, he protects, because he understands what it is. He understands who it is you are. Obatala. Shango, the player, huh? The big man, Shango. Now we're moving into, if you've watched The Avengers, I'm sure you know who Thor is. Now, Ushango is said to be the god of lightning. His voice, his presence is felt in the rumbling that happens after lightning strikes. That's Shango. He's a god of mercy. He's a god of mercy and justice. He's the homie that you call upon for, I don't know. Okay, let me put it in this segment. Let me put it into this segment. Because if you look at Shango, this hit me in the morning. He's said to carry an axe or a weapon that is sharpened on both sides. And in the new, in Avengers, Infinity War, Thor has two hammers. There's one that is created from Groot, right? But I'm not gonna really break that down. But I just want to tell you this deep part about Ushango. Shango is said to be an entity that can dispel curses, hexes. And I believe that which he carries is the spinal cord. Because once you awaken the divine energy inside of you, what happens? You begin to see all curses. In your dreams, when you sleep, when you travel into the astral world, people and forces that have ill intention towards you, you can sometimes see them in your dreams. And because you've seen them in the astral world, which is the template world before anything manifests in the physical world. So the being that is responsible for dispelling all these spells, Shango, he's that guy. He's the homie inside of you that dispels all this gibberish. He's that guy. Now we're moving on to the Lady of the Winds, Oya. When you watch X-Men, there's a lady called Storm there. Oya is actually known as the Lady of the Winds. And she said to oversee over cemeteries, And she also guides, you know, when they say the winds of change, that's what she's responsible for. The winds of change. The winds of change are coming your way. That's Oya right there. And since she's the winds of change, she is also an entity that reveals the deepest secrets. As her winds blow, the deepest secrets within yourself can come forth. The deepest secrets within other people around your surrounding can come forth. And since she's also an entity responsible for now watching over the symmetry, she's said to be one who also guides people when they are now just newly fresh in the astral plane. So after they've departed in the physical world and they've just now entered into the ancestral realm, it is said to be her who guides them through all of that, right? So now I'm going to speak about one last entity. Ooh, the big man. Ogun. Ay! Ay. Root chakra, that guy. Ogun. Ogun is said to be, he's the blacksmith, works with metal. Also, he's an entity that works with healing because he's also responsible for blood. And remember, watch that video that I did about blood and crystals. And since he's an entity that works so closely with blood, blood is a force that could heal you through certain vibrations. So that's who he is. He's an alchemical entity. So he's responsible for change. He's an alchemical force because metal, when you begin to work with certain metals, metal goes hand in hand with alchemy. It's transmutation, changing things from base elements and refining them and taking them into a higher, or bringing about a higher property within those, just like changing lead into gold. That's alchemy. Now, the alchemy of you is changing the lower base vibration into the higher crystalline vibration of Christ consciousness. So Shango is one that works with healing, and healing not just on a physical level, healing on a karmic level as well. So healing past traumas, past scars, past atrocities that have happened to you on an etheric level, on a soul level, on a mental level. You are dealing with that force right there. The blacksmith. He's the homie that deals with tools. Because he's so closely linked to the physical body. The root chakra is so closely linked to the tools, to the hands, to the creativity of the hands. So if you want to be expanding your creativity and to be alchemizing your activities, you work with the entity Shango, right? So now let's break this down. I'm still recording, right? I'm still recording. What are these forces, Joe? What are these forces? Are they things outside of you? Are they things outside? Is there an outside to you? No. All things in the universe are nothing but a projection of things that are happening inside. So now, what I've noticed is that with the world, right now, people want to go and worship Ogun. People want to go worship Oshun. People want to go worship, all these forces. They want to worship them, and what they are doing is that because we've been so Christianized and westernized, in this awakening, what we are doing is we are approaching ancient spiritual systems with a Western mindset where we separate these forces as if they are something distant, just in the same way that they made Jesus to be a figure over there. They made God to be a figure over there. They made everything in the Bible that you read so much to be things that are there that you will always be chasing. Unlike the ancients who told you that these things are inside, projected outside. But because you have fallen, because the fall of man had happened, what they did was to bring this much closer to you, they put it in mythology. Because these are science. These are science. It's a higher science. When you are falling in love, when you are feeling compassion, when you are feeling, when your heart chakra is just expanding and you want to do for people, you are Oshun. You are Oshun. When you are mad, when you are feeling destructive, when you are in astrology, that would be Mars, the planet Mars, the red planet, the action planet. So all these planets, Saturn said to be the father planet. Venus would be Oshun because it's the entity that deals with love. Mercury would be Alegua because it's the messenger, it's the voice, it's the one that speaks. You see, so all these things are related. All of these things are forces inside of you. In psychology, in what they call Jungian psychology, they would be known as what they call the archetypes, or the collective archetypes of the mind, psychological states of the mind. In the Bible, they would be what they are known as the disciples or the tribes. These are psychological states. The zodiac signs, the prophets, the messengers, the messiahs, all of them are forces and states of mind inside of you. Inside of you. Your mother is Yemayajo. Your father is Obatila. You are Ogun, you are Oshun, you are all these beings. When you call upon them, you are calling on latent, dormant forces inside of you. You're not calling on things that are distant to you, because if they were not forces inside of you, they would not be able to bring about what it is that you are calling them for in the first place. It's a law of correspondence. There has to be a correspondence. And because you are a god, you can create forces or thought forms in your mind. So we created Oshun. We sat down and said, this love, this deep feeling, what can we put it down in mythology as? Because it's something that was so universal. I said, no, we'll give it a name. We'll call it Oshun. We'll call it Vishnu in the East. In the East, they speak of Brahman. So Brahman would be the father figure. That would be similar to Obatila, right? So then they speak of Vishnu. So they say that Brahman is the creator, Vishnu is the sustainer, and Shiva is the destroyer. That's the balance of life. You have the creator, the one who creates all things. You have the sustainer, the one who sustains life. And then you have the destroyer, because life and destruction, or chaos and order, always have to go together. They always have to go together. So that's why you would have Kali, which is, they say that we are in the age of Kali, the age where everything is just going like, it's like, it's the age of darkness. And from the age of Kali, we would be now going through an alchemical force, or we would be going through an alchemy that would lead us into now a different age, the age of Shakti. Here, we are moving, they say we are moving into the age of Aquarius, the waters. We are moving back into motherhood. We are moving back into understanding the feminine principle of God. We are moving into the age of Yemaya. Inside ourselves. But I'm still recording. You need to understand. This is what I want to drive home with this. You need to understand that these forces are inside of you. Ogun is not an entity that is far removed from you. It's you. It's you. And because you are so powerful, when you think that, damn, I messed up. I didn't do this. Ogun is going to punish me. You're going to get punished. Because as a man thinketh, so is he. When you are there scared, like, damn, I didn't do this. Damn, Alegba is going to have my ass. You create. In Greek mythology, they say that when the humans, there's a scene in one of the movies, I think it's Clash of the Titans, where one of the gods, Zeus, lightning, is like, one of the gods there was like, the humans are not praying to us anymore. And once humans stop praying or mentioning certain God's name, it said that these gods lose power. I was watching also a series called The Vikings, and Ragnar, which is the main character there, or one of, he says that, damn, I forgot what the saying is, but he basically says that the gods are a creation of us. We create the gods. We create the gods. And so now that's why some people in public, when you meet them, they just feel so heavy and so, they feel big. They could have small bodies, but they feel big. It's because they are walking or have summoned that big force inside of them. They are walking with the supreme force. They are walking with the higher entity. They are walking with an activated center within them, activated fully. Unapologetically, they are walking with a beaming crown chakra. Wow, Obatala in your face, bro. I'm the father. I'm the father. Some people just, so when you are in the presence, you just want to confess and lie on them and hug them and just, that's Yemaya right there, man. Huh? When you see beauty and you understand it right there, that's the force of Oshun. These are states. They are psychological states inside of you. Mental states. Forces. There's this video of a child. So there's an accident. This child, the car is temporarily stepping on this child. The driver, I don't know what was happening with the driver. The mother sees this, runs, picks up that car, gets the child out. The child gets out under the car. After that, everyone is shocked. How did you do that? Oh my God, do that again. Never. Can't do it again. Why? In that moment, she summoned one of these powerful forces. In that moment, Yemaya inside of her was summoned. The protector of mothers and children. She got a strength. She tapped into a deep part of herself. There's people where when they're in deep meditation and in trance-like state, they can walk on thorns and on coal. They can do supernatural things. It's because they are tapping into these supernatural forces that we call Orishas. These are forces and principles and states of mind that exist inside of you. I'm telling you. Oldumari is Umenzi, the creator, here. Ogun, Oshun, all of them. Uma, Umlenze Munyo, all these beings that they speak about here in South Africa, Izutunya, the messengers, same. They will change across cultures, but get your mind out of, don't pick a segment of truth and know everything. In what do they call this? In the Corpus Hermetica, there's this beautiful thing they say, if you want to be like God, then make yourself in the likeness of God. Imagine that in yourself, imagine that you are all things. Imagine that you are the biggest thing, you are the smallest thing. Imagine that you are not yet born. Imagine that you are in the world of the dead. See all things. Imagine yourself in the highest of heights and the lowest of all lowest. Be in all places at the same time. Because if you do not make yourself in the likeness of God, then who are you to do with God? Who are you to approach? Who are you to even now come close to the great creator? So that's why the great creator, in its supreme intelligence, what it did was, in the negation of itself, as it descended down, it created these different sephiras, which are also known in the Kabbalah as the different universes. These are states and planes of existence represented by different forces. Some of these Orishas represent cosmic forces. Some of them represent elemental forces of fire, earth, air, and water. Some of them represent ancestors. Joe, check this out. Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The intelligence of your ancestors was left in mythology. Was left in mythology. I'll tell you a story that kind of explains what mythology basically tries to do, or what it does. There was a tortoise and there was a hare, a rabbit. They had a race. So they both began at the same time. On your marks, get set, ready, fire, go. The tortoise, being very slow, took its time. The rabbit, fast, left the tortoise in the dust. When it got so far, it looked back, couldn't see the tortoise. It got cocky. It took a nap. The tortoise came slowly, slowly. Time passed, it came slowly, slowly. It passed the rabbit as it was sleeping on the side. The rabbit woke up, boop, looked back, still couldn't see the tortoise. It's like, damn, I'm really that fast? Oh, turns around, sees the tortoise approaching the finish line. Rabbit takes off. Tortoise crosses the finish line. Seconds later, rabbit comes through. You heard the story, right? Now, what religion has people doing right now is fighting over the tortoise and the hare. Was the tortoise a black tortoise? Was the rabbit a rock rabbit? Was it a white rabbit? Where were they racing? Was it in the desert? Was it in the grassland? Huh? What were the kilometers? That's what people are arguing about. Moses, Jesus, no, Krishna. It was Krishna. No, who's the real messenger here? They're missing the point. No, it's the Orishas. The Orishas are the original ones. No. It's the pantheon of the Egyptians. It's Tehuti. It's Sekhmet. It's Ra. It's Heru. It's Set. Yeah, they are the ones arguing. Same beings, same forces, same stories, arguing over details that don't matter. You're missing the deeper explanation. What is the moral of the story? Moral of the story is you could be born with things that give you an advantage in life. You're a rabbit, you're fast. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna finish it first. On the tortoise side of things, take your time. Take your time. That's the lesson. You don't need to compare yourself to the rabbit. Just run your race. On the rabbit side of things, pride. Be humble. Pride could destroy you. That's the moral of the story. It's not about the details. So that's what mythology is. When they're speaking about Horus fighting Set, and all of these things, these are psychological things happening inside of you. They are how creation came into existence, how the planets came into existence, how the solar system came into existence, how certain star systems began to, it's higher science. Speaking about Tiamat, you're speaking about the Great Mother. You're speaking about, and then you want to argue with someone that Ogun, people be charging you money to initiate you, charging you thousands of rands, thousands of dollars, making you chase things, always making these things seem like they're things outside of you. And you'll be falling for it left, right, and center, not knowing that these beings are you. They are part of you. They are part of you. They are states that you can reach, that you must aspire to reach and to climb to. So that in your climbing into these states, you ascend inside of yourself and you awaken higher forces inside of yourself so that you could be able to comprehend the all. Even though you will never encompass what the all is, but at least you'll be able to now get glimpses because you'll be bringing the Orishas together now. You are bringing all the different aspects of yourself. You are bringing the scattered pieces of Osiris. You are bringing yourself. You are putting back the Tower of Babel. This has been the Orishas family. It's just a 101. We'll go into details. In other videos, we might speak about them individually. But yeah. Peace, love and light to you all, family. Much love, much love, much love. Remember, subscribe, like, and share the channel so that we can spread this information across the diaspora. So that we can come together, man. We are the Orishas. We are the Orishas. The Orishas are us and we are them. They are us and we are them. Peace.